I've learned a lot of lessons over the last more than 20 years, it's probably about 23, 24 years now. Lessons I've forgotten and lessons I've not understood. This is something which a lot of people in this country have contributed to, so what I've done is not particularly original. We have lots and lots of fine people who've been at this for a long, long time, ever since my great heroine, Dame Ida Mann. I think she started about 1947 in WA, and I never met her, but I just think that's where it all started. A lot of the problems, I'm not going to, I'll mention a lot of the problems that we've had in trying to do this work nationally and also, statewide. And a lot of it comes down to borders. This is one of my favourite maps. Sorry, probably. This is what I call the Pope's borderline. This was put in place by the Treaty of Tordesillas by Pope Sixtus, the Borgia Pope. In 1492, of course, the New World was discovered. In 1494, the Pope was asked by Portugal and Spain to divide the world into two for Spanish purposes and Portuguese purposes. So this is the Spanish-Portuguese border to this day. It's the ante-meridian. It came around. So when Captain Cook took possession of Australia, he only took possession of the east coast, which was the Spanish side, not the Portuguese side. That didn't have very, very many implications, really, in 1494, but it does now because, I'll mention it later on, the Tuchanjara people here unknowingly had all their communities divided by a straight line by the Pope in 1494. So it's made a mess of things, really. I mean, we're 6 separate countries. We have divided the Indigenous people up. This is very, very important. When you're talking about Indigenous people, you really need to talk about where they live and where they're placed. Most of the Indigenous people in Australia are on the east coast of Australia all the way down, maybe all the way around to Adelaide. This is very, very important. These numbers, and I'll be referring to these constantly. I like to have an interest in 4 and 5. So the percentage of Indigenous people in areas 4 and 5 is significant, and they get all the news. But where they are numerically is in 1, 2 and 3, which is metropolitan, regional and near regional. And people tend to be very, very inexact with talking about Indigenous people. They think that they're homogenous in terms of where they live, they're homogenous in terms of their socio-economic demographic, and that is not the case at all. So I'll be referring to these maps. This is what my area is up here, Cape York Peninsula, the size of Victoria, roughly. Only 17,000 people or so, and what we've developed over a long period of time is a spoke and hub structure, which I think is the way services have to be delivered to remote areas. Fortunately, I chose the hub as being Weipa, and the spokes are out here. And I can recite all those, of course: Wujja, Cookdown, Hopevale, Laura, Lockhart River, Pomporoy, Kowanyama, Arakun.
If you enjoyed this lecture so far, please subscribe to http://iop.vision. I hope you enjoyed this series as much as we have putting it together. Thank you.